So I've got Jessica Grizzle, a digital creator, influencer, and someone who's always championing women in DIY. Jess, so good to have you here with us today.
Hello, it's nice to be here.
It is so good to have you. So let me just be really frank with you, right? So it's International Women's Day coming up,
Yes.
and I've always wanted to chat to you, but I needed to find a reason, like other than just talk to you because I just like your stuff on Instagram. And then you dropped this thing about tool club happening, and
Yeah.
obviously you're a woman of faith, you're in DIY. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. Now I got a reason to really get her on the show. You see how
There's
the
a
Lord works?
reason. Look how God set that up.
Right? So before we get into talking about how you got into DIY, tell me a bit about Tool Club or what it is. What's the concept behind the show?
Okay, so Tour Club is basically there's four experts, and we go around in the Tour Club bus around the nation to teach people how to do DIY. So there are loads of shows out there that are about DIY and using your hands and using what you've got. But this one, it's more the people coming to the bus, the homes that we're going to. It's them taking on the projects. It's them learning new skills. It's them taking it on and really mastering like these DIY skills, and we're there just to help out. We're there to just support and encourage. So it's a really nice, uplifting, good for the soul kind of show, helping people in need, and yeah, just teaching them new trick I can't even speak, teaching them new tricks of the trade and stuff like that. So yeah, it was really great to film. I haven't seen any of it, so it's going to be like really nice to just watch it air. So yeah.
I am so looking forward to it. Let's rewind back into how did you get into DIY in the first place?
Okay, so a few people have asked me this question. I've always been a creative person. I've loved art. I've loved being crafty. I've loved sewing and knitting. I got it from my nan. My nan was really creative in terms of just thinking of things to make and things to do. But I think in terms of DIY and power tools, I wasn't really using them until me and my husband got our own house. About 5 years ago, we bought our own house, and during the pandemic, nobody could come around. We had a lot of things that needed to be done, and no one was allowed to come to the house. We weren't allowed to go anywhere. And I'm thinking, these things need to be done. I don't know how long this pandemic is going to last. It could have been years. And I thought, I need these things to be done. So I kind of just went on YouTube, did some research, and took on little projects. Started off really small, and just worked my way up and learned as I went along. And I felt awesome once the project was finished and I saw it in my house, and I thought, oh, do you know what? This is really nice. And it's hilarious because my husband, he can't stand DIY. It's just not his thing at all. So it was nice that I had this thing that was my thing in our house, but I could put my stamp on it. And my husband was just happy for that to happen. So it was like a win-win, really.
Brilliant. So here's the thing. When I said to my producer, I want to interview Jess about the DIY stuff, and we're going to talk about loads of other things as well, but
Yeah.
particularly about the DIY. And I was saying, like, so I sent him your page on
Yeah.
Instagram, so he had a look and stuff, and he's like, is she married? I said, yeah. And he's like, so how does her husband feel about it? Because doing DIY is kind of one of the things where men get to get some golden stars.
Yeah.
How does
Yeah.
he feel about that?
He's happy. He is happy that we get to save money. He is happy that he doesn't have to pay for a tradesman to come into the house and then do that whole thing where, there's someone in your house that you don't know. Like, he has me, he has his wife who is capable, who loves to do it, and he doesn't have to spend out no money. So for him, this is a great deal that he's got, to be honest. And I don't think my husband feels emasculated in the slightest.
Mm.
He is a very confident, independent man. He doesn't need I don't emasculate him in any way. He knows who he is. He's confident in who he is. And me doing DIY around the house has no impact on how he feels or thinks about himself. So he's
It just
fine.
impacts the bank. The bank is
Impacts,
nice.
yeah, in a good way. Savings have been made.
Is this what you do full time?
No,
Get
I
out of here.
I have a full-time job, girl. So I work for regional news, broadcaster TV news. So that is my day-to-day job. I'm in the technical team. I'm the PA. Sometimes it depends. I've got different shifts. So sometimes I'm in the presenter's ears, you know, counting and doing all that. So that's my day job, Monday to Friday day job. And then after work, before work, weekends, not so much Sundays, because obviously Sundays are church days, but you know, my weekends are all to do the other stuff, my extra curriculum stuff.
Wow, I honestly thought this was you because you're so skilled at what you do. Obviously, I've got the eye of a novice, but I've seen you fixing taps. I've seen you like renovating tables. What else? You do things, and I'm like, yeah, but why are you troubling that though? Like when it's finished, it looks amazing, but I'm like, if it's me, that table is staying brown.
No, honestly, and I think it's not even just me who does it. I know a lot of people who are working full time and being content creators and doing DIY and doing up their house. And it just goes to show that anybody can do it. You know, when people look at me like, oh, I don't know how you do it. Honestly, anybody can do it. It's just that I've taken a little bit of time. Like I've wanted to do it and I've seen it and I thought, you know, I've had to get over my fear of using power tools. Starting with a drill, I was scared to use a drill. I was like, okay, I'm going to drill into my hand. But eventually you get confident. So my thing is anybody can do it. And I'm hoping that I can inspire people to be like, you know what, I might give that a try. And I've had women in my DMs and I love that. When a woman in my DMs is like, you know what, I would never have thought to do that. All I do is put up pictures with a nail, but you've inspired me to do something. And there's so many other women content creators who are doing the exact same thing and encouraging women and not just women, but encouraging people to do something and find that achievement at the end of it and be like, you know what, I did that. It's a nice feeling.
What's been your favorite project?
Oh, do you know what? It's my headboard. It's the bedroom headboard. I love the shape of it. I love the color of it. I love the cushiony feel to it. So that's not my biggest project, but that's one of my favorites. I do love that one.
I think that's my favorite too. We're gonna have to post a picture with this so people
Yeah.
see what it is, man. Because that head again, when I saw you doing it, I did say, "This is long."
What is she doing? Like, why is she
Like,
doing that?
why? Why is that necessary? Bed heads can be purchased. When I saw the end product, I'm like, oh right.
I wanted something a little bit different. And you are right. Sometimes you have to think, is it necessary? Because if it's gonna look like the same one that you can get down the road for a similar price, because sometimes DIY is not cheaper.
Mm.
So when you're having to get supplies, when you're having to get tools, when you're having to purchase all of these things, sometimes it's not cheaper than buying something brand new. But sometimes it's your ideas, it's your creativity, it's something different, it's something unique, it's something you can have in your home and you'll be like, nobody else has this. So yeah, sometimes some projects it is worth balancing. Is it worth DIYing this, or is it more cost effective to just buy something?
Yeah, yeah. No, the headboard absolutely does slap though. Absolutely amazing. Have you had like any challenges or limitations kind of in the DIY world, being that it's typically something that you expect men to do?
Yeah, I think I've had people underestimate me. I've had people not expect much from me. I have a local sawmills near my house where I go and purchase timber and wood and everything. And sometimes they're looking at me like, I'm walking around the store and they're looking at me like, what is she doing here? And then I remember one day I went in overalls and work boots and I was like, yeah, look at me. And they looked at me a little bit different. So, and over time they've got to know me. Like I'm a regular now. But I think in the beginning it was just like, oh, what is she doing? Why is she buying these things? Um, but yeah, you have to get over that. You have to really believe in yourself and know about your capabilities. And it doesn't matter what other people say. And on TikTok, I'm telling you, there are so many trolls. People are ready to rip you down and tear you to shreds. So if you do not have a backbone, leave TikTok alone. Leave it alone. If you ain't strong and thick skin, because yeah, there will be trolls, there will be comments.
Is there any kind of spaces where, like, let's say a lady is listening now, 'cause it's Women's Day, so a woman's listening now and thinking, I'm really inspired by what Jess is saying. I've seen some of her content. I want to get into DIY. Any places you could recommend them to go to start learning things?
I don't know if there's what there needs to be is, and I'm going to say women only. I know people are like, oh, it shouldn't just be for women, it should be for everyone. But I feel like there should be women only events. And I know there's people that wanting to put on these events, women only events where you go and you learn the basics. You learn about power tools, you learn how to use them safely, the health and the safety part of it, as well as the practical part of it. There should be places like this. I personally don't know of any. I'm not saying that there's none out there, but there should be events like this. You go for 2 days, you go for a weekend, you come back home ready to do everything. Especially, I've got a lot of single mothers, single women in my DM saying it's really difficult, because thankfully I do have my husband who is able to pick up the heavy things for me. There's certain things I can't carry. My arms can't do it. But there are some women, single women, who are living alone, who have to do these things for themselves. They have to carry these things for themselves. So I think there should be something there to empower women to be able to do that without the help of anybody else.
I love it. I love it. So you have over 32,000 followers on your Instagram page, right? And I love that you share your DIY things, but there's also other elements of you that you share as well. You're really, really transparent. And you mentioned that, growing up in our kind of churches, like I grew up in that kind of church, kind of old school church, sometimes we're a bit private about things that are going on in our lives. Is that why you're as transparent as you are?
Yeah, 100%. I think there are so many taboo subjects. There are so many things that are hush hush, put under the carpet. We don't talk about that, and I think people suffer as a result of that. And I think if we can be more open and transparent, we can be able to deal with issues that people are facing. I think sometimes we look on the outward appearance and we just want things to look good and look perfect and look like Jesus. But if we're not dealing with the inside, if we're not dealing with the hearts of people, if we're not dealing with the issues that people face day to day and pretend like they don't exist, people are going to continue to go through the same cycles. And I just think we could put an end to that if we are more open and transparent.
What are some of the topics that you feel like we need to address as the church?
I think there's a lot. And I don't know if I think it's just the heart of people. And the Bible says that the heart of man is going to wax cold. We're just going to become harder. The world is becoming very wicked. And we need to protect our young people. We need to protect our children, but we're not talking to them about the things that they're facing. And I know for a fact that the teenagers and the children that are growing up now are dealing with I'm only 31. I'm 31. But I don't think the world was like this when I was a teenager. With me, it was, pink t-shirts and bubbles in my hair and things like that. But I feel like they're dealing with a lot. I think there's a lot of topics that we could talk about, even in marriage, even in single life. There's a lot of topics that we could just address as a church, and really have healing. Healing is needed in a lot of houses, in a lot of homes, in a lot of hearts, in a lot of people, and a lot of churches. Healing can happen if we address the root cause.
Definitely. I think I love what you said in terms of how things are different growing up. So you're 31, I'm a little bit older than that. So, things are definitely different in my days in school. But then I think about what I see teenagers deal with now, and even younger than teenagers, and the way their minds have to think about certain things that we never really thought about. Do you know what I mean? I think kids were just kids back in the day, whereas now
I was a
they're
kid.
starting to make adult decisions when you're kids. I'm like, even as an adult, I still struggle with decisions that I've got to make.
Yeah.
So I love that you shared that. One of the journeys that you've been really open with recently on your page is your fertility journey.
Yeah.
What happened, if I can ask, that's led you to this point? And again, you being so open with it as well.
I think it's just been a process of being transparent and a process of sharing. And I know in the beginning of my fertility journey, So me and my husband have been referred for IVF. So that's a route that we're planning to take. We don't know what God's going to do. So we're going with it, but we know that God can do anything at any time. He can do the impossible. But I think there were moments where in the beginning where I didn't talk about it because I'm just like, I was dealing with it. I couldn't share it at that moment because it was really raw for me. And I was just trying to get it in my head. I was trying to understand what was happening. I was trying to understand what God was doing, because there were moments where I'm like, Lord, are you there? Or are you hearing me? Because I've prayed a prayer and you're not responding to that prayer. So me and God had some many frank conversations. And I think at that time, it wasn't time for me to share because I was still dealing with it. I'm still just going through the motions and trying to get it and understand it for myself. And I think over time and going through the journey, setback after setback, issue after issue, exam after exam, test after test. And I think it gets to a stage where you're like, God is going to get the glory out of any situation I go through. He's going to get the glory. And when I got that in my mind, that it's not really about me, it's not really about, oh, woe is me, I'm really sad about everything. But in this situation, I know God is going to get the glory. I might not know exactly how, but I know he will. And my job is just to go with him, trust him, go where he's leading me, and he'll do the rest. So that's why I feel like I have this kind of sense of peace, is because my faith is at a level, and it wasn't always at that level. There were times when my faith has been knocked, but my faith is at a level where I'm trusting him enough to do what he needs to do. And I'm just going to go with the flow.
Amen to that. Definitely will be following that journey. You speak a lot about your faith on your channel, which isn't a faith channel, so to speak. Which I really love, because you don't hide your faith and your belief in God. What is faith to you? What is your relationship with God to you? What does that mean to you?
Jesus saved me. I think that is a sentence that sums it up. He saved me. And it is like a fine line, because it isn't like it's not like a solely faith-based page, but it's a lifestyle page. And because Jesus is so much a part of my life, it just comes out sometimes. Sometimes in conversation, it just comes out. That's a big part of my life. It's a big part of me. So it would be hard to not share that. And I remember in the beginning, when I was just posting house pictures, there was a moment where I was like, are you going to go down the road where you're going to share that you're a Christian, or are you not? And this was back in 2019. And I remember thinking about it, because I was like, oh, I don't really know if I want to talk about it. I don't really know what people are going to say. People are going to unfollow me. And this was the conversation I was having. But then I thought, what I don't want to do is have this page get further down the line, and it's been so long of me not mentioning my faith, not mentioning God, that it becomes the norm. Like it's a hidden thing. I thought, I can't just hide that. I can't hide that. I can't get like in a year's time, 2 years time, and it's been hidden. And I thought, if I really loved him, if I really cared about God, I would want to talk about him. I would want to share about him. And I know there's a lot of people on my page. A lot of people have said, I don't believe, but I love that. I love seeing your faith, or I'm a Muslim, or whatever faith they have. But there's something that they're drawn to. So I do feel like it's my responsibility. As with all believers, it's our responsibility to continue to speak about the goodness of God, and just hope that can help somebody and bring them closer to Christ. So
brilliant. Now, as we're talking about International Women's Day,
yes,
who are the women that inspire you?
Ooh. Now, this is going to sound really, really, really cliche, but my mom, I know everyone say, oh, it's my mom, but no, seriously, I'm not just saying that because she's my mom, but my mom is a hardworking, ambitious, caring, driven, and like she's not just my mom, she's my friend, but seeing her raise me and my sister and now my little brother, and just see what she went through, not wanting a life of poverty, wanting more for us, studying and going and promotion after promotion, and just her striving for her family inspires me. So that's my mom, definitely. But there's loads of women. I don't even know if I have any names, but just women, even in my church, women that I've seen be open about their faith, talking publicly about Jesus. Those kind of women sharing, opening up, helping other women, advocating for other women. There's so many out there. I can't even, so many.
Just women.
Just
Women out there
women
doing great things.
doing great things.
So tell us, when is Tool Club airing? Where and when can people watch it?
Okay. So Tour Club is airing from Monday, the 13th of March on Channel 4. It's going to be airing at 3 p.m. Monday to Friday for 3 weeks.
Every day.
Yes. So it's going to be 15 episodes. So like Monday to Friday, a community project will span that whole week. And on the Friday, it will be the reveal. So every Friday, there'll be a reveal from what we've done in the week. So yeah, 3 weeks.
That's brilliant. Oh, I'm so
It's gonna
excited.
be so funny because on Monday the 13th, I'm at work in the office. But there are TV screens and they want to put it on the TV screens, and I'm like, okay.
Of course. It shouldn't be any other way.
Yeah, but and it's just like, because I haven't seen it, it's just gonna be, oh, it's gonna be nice to watch it with people I like, but also it's gonna be a bit nerve-wracking as well. So it is that kind of yeah. I'm mixed. I've got mixed feelings at the moment.
I'm looking forward to it. Jessica, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. Like, I feel like I know you anyway, but
Well, just
thank
call
you.
me after this, we can be friends.
Yeah, man. I'll be WhatsApping you. What's up, Jess?
How's your week been?
How can people stay in touch with what's going on if they want to follow any of the many journeys that you're on currently, and just stay with your DIY work?
Well, my Instagram is grizzle_abode. I'm also on TikTok occasionally. But yeah, those are the main pages. DM me. I'm friendly. I don't bite.
Jessica, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.